The truth is, passion isn't in a person, it isn't in a place, and it isn't in a thing. It's something inside of you.
Whatever position you're at, you want to be the bull. That I'm going to be better than anybody else. You can be the bull at any position you're doing, and it's just telling yourself, I'm going to do this better than anybody else. I don't care what the job is. I don't care what you do. You be the bull at what you do.
So you might want to get honest with yourself. Like, instead of doing this, I want to be a millionaire, I want to do this. Do you really? Because you can make it happen. You actually can. You time travel forward a year. You investigate the patterns that you have that are giving you the result that you want, and then you back your ass up to right here, right now, and you decide, am I willing to do this now?
Mostly trying to find out what it is that I can do that only I can do. That's the real challenge, and that is something that I think takes your life to figure out. We can actually tell people that you are successful because you have found yourself, that it's independent of how much money you make, it's independent of how many followers you have. It's really about whether you have come to find out what it is that you can contribute, what impact you can have that no one else will have.
So the game of life, if it is a game, the end game is to be irreplaceable. You're one of a kind. You're original. There's nobody who can replace you, just as there's nobody who can replace Leonardo da Vinci. There's no one else like Napoleon Bonaparte. There's no one else like Steve Jobs. There's nobody else that can take their place. And that is the ultimate position of power in this world.
No longer push the snooze button. If any of you have been pushing the snooze button, waiting for some special moment in the future, waiting till everything's perfect, now is the time. The cosmic alarm clock is ringing, saying, wake up, it's your time. Your dreams, your visions that you have chosen you.
I'm suffering a lot more than I think is tenable. A whole bunch of it's my fault. My life is not in the order it should be. I know I'm doing 50 things wrong. It's like, what the hell's wrong with me? What's wrong with the people around me? This is really serious. No, I'm not okay the way I am. I'm not okay at all the way I am. I know that. Well, no, you're nowhere near what you could be. That's the positive message. It's like, yeah, you're a mess, but you don't have to stay that way.
What makes Brady want to win a fifth? What makes Jordan say, okay, I got 4? Like, it's not even a new season. He said, we got to get the 5th one. What makes Serena get 23? I'm telling you, it's not the money, the network. It's not, the vision board. It's, I believe, for those of us who are where we are, it's something within, and you can't go buy that. Like, you've got to go within and find that and pull that stuff out.
Every human being is born unique. Each one of you was born with a DNA and a configuration of your brain that has never happened before in history and will never happen in the future. And I compare this uniqueness that each one of you has to a voice that's inside of your head. It's telling you, you should be doing this, you should be doing this. It's what fits you, it's what you're good at. But what happens with all of us as you get older is that voice gets weaker and weaker. You start thinking in terms of what really matters is I have to be comfortable. I have to look for a position that's comfortable. Well, masters are people who hear that voice and they hear it so strongly that they stay true to it throughout the course of their life.
The reason you get yourself in a passionate place is so that you change your life, and the only thing that changes your life is making a decision. So while you're in this passionate state, that's where you make decisions. If you make a decision in a state without momentum, if you make a decision from a place where there's no passion, you are not going to get momentum. It'll kill momentum. It's decide, commit, and resolve.
Or your life's task. This was what you were meant to do in life. It's that seed that was planted at birth in your uniqueness.
How is the worst thing that ever happened to me the best thing that ever happened to me? Can you learn to stay calm in the chaos? because my friend, I have the chills. If you can do that, it will serve you so well in every single area of your life, in a relationship, in business, if you want to be an athlete, if you want to play games, like whatever it is that you do, one of the things that you're going to have to become great at is letting all of the noise drift away into nothing and getting into laser focus on the thing that you're working on.
I just want you to try. In those moments where you hear yourself, I want you to try. In those moments where you know that it's time to speak up, I want you to try. That's all that I ever ask of you, because if you simply do that, you will literally unlock the potential of your life.
It's through that failure that we learn. It's the trial and error. The error part is hugely important. Nurturing the edges. Trying to be at the edge of things, right? So in order to support innovation, you have to be comfortable with failing.
You decided there's something you wanted so bad that you unleashed all your desire. You became obsessed with it. If it was a business or a car or a relationship or a transformation in your body, if there's something you once envisioned and now it's real, it's because you didn't just envision it, you brought so much emotion to it that now it's in your life. It was once a dream, it was once a goal, and now it's in your life.
Because I know how hard I've played every day. I know how much I'm willing to bleed for my goals. So this is not about emotional austerity. This is not about grinding yourself into the dirt. First of all, it's doing something you love so that as you're grinding and going that hard, it's something that you just want to do. On the other side, because you're going that hard, that you just don't have the guilt that most people have when you take time off.
Honor the struggle. Like so many people bemoan the hardship and they hate it. And I would say, anything you apply hate to quickly dies. You got a dream and you're hating the process, you apply hate to the process, the dream's gonna die. Be very careful of what you put hate or things to, and most people do that with hardship. And I've always seen hardship as like, I'm gonna honor this process. I'm gonna honor that this is difficult because that is precisely what's needed.
But most people have strategies available, or they could get them, or you could create them. But the problem is you got a story. And your story is why it isn't working. And the story is, I've tried what? Everything. If you tried everything, you'd be fit. There's always a story. And what I tell people is, if you can just divorce the story of your limitation and marry the truth of your unlimited capacity, then the whole game changes.
Deep and lasting fulfillment. The thing that as a human makes us feel good. The thing that we're all secret deep down, no matter what you tell people you're chasing, the thing you're actually chasing is fulfillment. You want to feel good about who you are. You want to feel good about your contributions. You want to feel good about meaning and purpose in your life. So those are the things ultimately that people are chasing. They think that money is going to give that to them, and that they're wrong.
No limit people are human beings who take what they are and accept it, and don't tell themselves that somehow they're deficient because of anything about themselves. It's this idea of taking your life in your own hands and being the kind of person that you choose to be, and understanding that everything that comes your way is an opportunity, is a blessing. And it wasn't until I learned how to celebrate virtually everything that came my way that I was able to transcend it.
Does the decision that you're about to make expand you, expand your future, or expand the possibilities of your life? If the answer is yes, then the decision is yes, no matter how terrifying it is.
have a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing. One of the central principles of my life is that no one knows enough to be a pessimist about anything. And that each and every one of us, when we close our mind to what is possible for us or what is possible for humanity, closes off the genius that resides and lives in each and every one of us.
Truth is, life will never be joyous unless you bring the joy. I really feel like that. So many people are waiting to have happiness, and they're waiting to like, well, maybe when my boss loosens up, I'll loosen up, or when she's vulnerable, I'll be vulnerable, or it's like we're waiting for something. I'm like, it's not. Your life will never be what it is going to be unless you bring that thing.
Shakespeare noted, there is nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so. There's nothing good or bad, right? There's just stimulus and then there's response. People think that it is objectively a certain way. So now because they think it is objectively a certain way, they feel they are supposed to react based on those emotions that are getting kicked up in their mind. What I'm saying is absolutely not. Those emotions may not serve you. They're certainly not aimed at moving you towards your goal. Their job is to keep you alive, plain and simple. So that's not necessarily very helpful in a modern context. So if you want to always be moving towards your goal, you want to be optimized, you've got to learn to get control of your emotions. You've got to learn to understand to tell yourself a narrative that isn't predicated on necessarily identifying what is objectively true, because I don't think that we experience the world that way. It's identifying what's going to work to get me to my goal.
And if you don't find something that you love what you do, don't bother. Because if you don't have a passion for what you do and you love, it gets old. Okay? Well, if you're not passionate about what you do in life, it gets old, and then it becomes work. And as soon as it becomes work, you're finished.
So this progress that we're creating in the search for ubiquity of happiness, for the utopia of this place that we will arrive at, this tropical place called happiness, is the biggest lie of it all. So the truth of our existence is that there is nothing truly on the outside that can ever fill us up.
A lot of you feel stuck because you're waiting for some kind of external force to either push you and pressure you to change and to be great and to be amazing, or you're waiting for somebody to give you permission. More than likely, no one is coming. The only kind of force that will truly create change in your life is you, the internal kind of force. I hate to say it, but for those of you that feel really, really stuck, and you keep thinking that somebody's got to pick me, it's ridiculous. This is external versus internal force.
He said, then there are those who reach a stage in which they realize the futility of this constant striving, struggling for the things that perish. Things which, after they are obtained, prove to be shadows. It is at this stage that some persons turn from this seeking for things in the outer realm to a seeking for them from God. Taking the focus in my life off of the things, the accomplishments, the acquisitions, the reputation, ownership, which we begin to identify ourselves as.
Actually ask yourself if this is what you wanted, or were you just used to it?
For somebody that's struggling, you start rewarding incremental steps that are about forward action.
Every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around.
You have to be alert when you're suffering. You have to be alert to the beauty in life, the unexpected beauty in life. And you have to look and see where things are still beautiful and where there's still something that's sustaining. That can get you through some very dark times.
Agitation and stress were designed to get us up and move us. And when we try and fight that too much, and we try and quiet that stress, that actually can be problematic. You have to decide, are you going to try and quiet stress, or are you going to actually lean into action? That's a critical choice point for everybody who's experienced anything negative. Forward movement, provided it doesn't endanger you, is absolutely the remedy for fear, stress.
Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting in the face of it. Confidence isn't the absence of self-doubt, it's being willing to try even though you doubt yourself. The world gave us a gigantic experiment where we got to practice and get to continue to practice the most important skill on the planet, which is emotional resilience.
You do have to embrace the darkness. You do have to embrace the rage.
People have like a gift inside of them, greatness inside of them. They have a passion inside of them. And now's the time to let it out.
2020 is a reset year. 2020, it's not by accident that it's 2020 and a new decade. It's 2020 vision for 2020 and beyond. This is the year for reset. This is the year for restart. This is the year for reignite. This is the year for repeat the things that you love. This is the year for recommit. This is the year for redesign. This is the year for re-engage. This is the year for restart. This is that year.
The external lesson for me has just been to realize like it's so important to work hard when things are good. When you're in your flow and you've got momentum and you get in the lane and you go roll with it and you work harder, you set yourself up for times like this. And I think the problem is that when you get too safe and secure and complacent, you start to think like, oh, nothing bad can happen to me, nothing can touch me, nothing can, and then all of a sudden, something like this happens and everyone's back at square one.
But I'll never be poor again. And poor is a state of mind of feeling out of control, scarcity-minded, taking pride in being blue-collar. No one should ever take pride in being blue-collar, period. You've got a brain, you've got a solution to a problem that people want to pay for, put it out there. Like so many people probably come up to you, and I know they come up to me, I've got this great idea, and one day I'm gonna do it. When is that day?
I'm gonna invite you, don't sign up for the goal, sign up for the inconvenience it's gonna cost you. Every day say yes to whatever it takes, no matter what.
And this is the reason why we feel pain is because we attach significance to a particular moment, right? The reason why you and I and everyone feels pain is that we attach significance to that moment. And then when that moment is taken away from us, we think our significance has been taken away from us. And you think that all that work is lost because you have significance attached to that moment. But the truth is that's not true. The significance was in the work you put in.
See, so many of you want to play big in the world, but you keep making it optional. And every time it gets too hard, you sit it back down. The moment you make it non-negotiable, not an option, slide every option off the table, you're not wondering about the mountain and how big it is because you said you must bow down.
Remember this, your life is not about you. Rather, your life is about the lives of everyone you touch. When you make your life about the lives of everyone you touch, you will never wake up feeling anxiety or worry or stress again.
The red pill, its only promise is the truth. That's it. It's not saying that it's going to make things better. It's simply going to reveal the way that the world really is. And that for me was incredibly intoxicating. And I took the red pill intellectually, and what I began to realize is that the mind is the matrix in and of itself. Because I can tell you right now, today, in this moment, I promise you, the matrix has you.
You know, I want to live in a world in which the vast majority of people wake up every single morning inspired to go to work, feel safe when they're there, and come home fulfilled at the end of the day. That is not the world we live in now. That is the world I want to live in, and that is the world I want my friends and family to live in.
The true goals, true intention comes from within. And when it comes from within, you tend to have more emotion towards it.
Because I can do something. And if I can do it better than others, and it's for a greater good in society, I would be irresponsible if I did not. That many people look for meaning in life, as though they will, I'm still searching for meaning in what my life, as though it's going to be under a rock. You have more power than that. You have the power to create meaning in your life, rather than passively look for it.
This is water. To a fish, water is so ubiquitous it ceases to exist. Now we all have that same thing, and it's playing on us, and it's keeping us from becoming who we want to become. And that thing is our mindset, it's our belief system. It is so ever present. It is so ingrained into the fabric of who you are and the way that you process data, you don't even notice it. You don't even know that it's real. And this is the thing that impacts your life. It is your inability to see that your mindset controls everything, that it is water in and of itself. That once you become aware of the water, you can change everything. That you can go from a scared, lost kid in Tacoma to whomever you want to be.
Have I, by whatever powers I have available to me, have I lessened the suffering of others? Or the corollary to that would be, have I enhanced the life of others? They're related. And I don't mean, have I devoted the whole day to doing that? Then I would be ignoring myself. But if there's some small gesture that I can do that can completely add value to someone's life, I'm going to do it. Because the leveraging of 10 minutes of my life into the happiness or enlightenment or the reduced suffering of someone else, I'd be irresponsible if I did not.
And that 1/3 or not all of my life is generated through pure intention. There's a large portion of it, Marie says 1/3, that is your soul's intention for you. In other words, it is people that you are meant to meet, and it's predetermined. It's situations you're meant to go through, and you're meant to experience these situations. And sometimes it's pain and failure that you're meant to go through so your soul can learn. And you want to surrender into this. Now, but what this means is accept uncertainty. If you have 3 goals, one may just not be in your soul's path. That's okay.
Once you pick a meaning, which is always your choice, then you can start to build a great life. Stories are the outpicturing or the way we tell the own journey that we have to go through. And most people live vicariously through a film.
So many people in the world today are obsessed with this idea called the law of attraction. But I can tell you the law of attraction is wrong. The universe doesn't give you what you want. The universe gives you who you are. Don't think law of attraction, think law of resonance. In other words, you have to be that which you want. And then the universe responds.
If that's the game that we're playing, if I can construct my belief system, if I can choose at any moment to believe something that's more empowering, one can have no smaller or greater mastery than mastery over oneself.
On my tombstone, I want the epitaph, "Be ashamed to die until you have scored some victory for humanity." Any of us, I think, should want the world to be a little better off for you having lived in it. So what do you have to give with no expectation of return?
Why are you only doing one thing? Why don't you do shit? Because you're scared. The question is why? Like, I'm just trying to get to why. Who's gonna cast judgment? My friends, every person here that's not 100% happy, including myself, is not doing something because of judgment of somebody else.
That you are not aware of yourself. You don't know yourself, you don't know other people. Okay, so the key here in going about your patterns is to be aware of those patterns, okay? If you're not aware of those patterns, you will repeat them your entire life because you don't even know that they exist.
My friends, until our society, and this country especially, redefines success in being happy, not being rich, everybody will continue to go down the path that we're seeing in our society. The number one unlock to happiness in this room is to go out there after this talk and get naked about your vulnerabilities, what you suck at, take a step back, go humble. This is about losing in humility at the forefront, and nobody's talking about it.
If you actually spent part of the day thinking about your own thoughts, you would realize that well over half of your thinking revolves around other people and what they have, comparing yourself to them. Your career, your power, your success in life depends on your ability to bring out your uniqueness, to bring out your originality, to be different from the crowd, to show what's different about you. That's your source of power. I call that in my book, Your Life's Task.
You have to be honest with yourself, because if you're incapable of that, you have no prayer of happiness. And being honest with yourself is hard. My friends, we are so good at casting judgment on everybody else. We're unstoppable at that. We're not doing that to ourselves.
You're always thinking about what other people are doing and how you can fit in and how you can impress them. And you're gonna lose a sense of who you are, or lose a sense of your soul in a way.
My question is, which one's better? Is it better to be happy, hit on a number, and live within those means? Or is it better, chase the money and make yourself vulnerable and unhappy?
I am enough. But enough of what? Every time I hear those words, I feel like they keep getting stuck up in my head, conflicting with all the words that I've said to myself on repeat for most of my life. Yeah, I haven't been very nice to myself. Bottom to top, I spent most of my time focused on why I was not enough. Flat feet, too slow. Chicken legs won't grow. Like self-deprecation was an occupation, I went pro long ago. And I know that the mind learns through repetition. And no matter how quiet I speak, it's always around to listen. Creating the vision of who I am based on my self-talk. So why not speak what I can and stop all the can nots? Because I got a lot of knots. I thought a lot of thoughts that brought a lot of nada, so I fought to make them stop. And I finally gave my ego what it wanted, and I told it what I am not. I am not dumb. I am not ugly. I am not giving up. I am not weak. I will get back on my feet no matter how much I slip up. I am not broken, I am not afraid, and so when the going gets tough, I can see what I am not, and it reminds me I am enough. I am enough strength to overcome any obstacle placed in my way. I am enough courage to keep my heart open after heartbreak. I am enough will to get through any hard day. I am enough fun to turn all my work into play. I am enough pride to not be torn down by what others say, and I am enough humility to own up to all my mistakes. And it doesn't take a special ability, just a perspective shift to go through this list and always remember this. For everything I'm not, there's something that I am. For everything I can't, there's something that I can. I can be happy. I can be free. I can be authentic. In fact, I'm already me. And I am so grateful and proud of me and everything I am. And so for the rest of my life, I will do whatever I can to remember that, yeah, I am not a lot of stuff, but there's one thing I am. I am enough.
The biggest challenge that you face is going from believing to knowing.
We are Imagineers. We have this capacity to conjure up these delightful future possibilities. Choose the most amazing possibility and then pull the present forward to meet those possibilities.
Many people live in that world. It's the world of appearances. It's the world of lack and limitation and fear, doubt and worry. It's the world of business as usual. Humanity will never ever solve any of these problems. So just get rich, be happy until you die, or be anti-bored until you die. But the moment you begin to break free from that construct, you begin to see a different world. That you have the ability to think independent of circumstances. You have the ability to think independent of your historical self. You have the ability to think independent of anything that has happened to you and to make a new choice.
My destiny is not in your hands. People that are manifesting their greatness, they find a way to win. Muhammad Ali down the first time by Joe Frazier. And Howard Cosell asked him, why did you jump up so quickly? And Muhammad Ali said, I looked around and saw where I was, and he said, a canvas is no place for a champion.
See a world of possibility. You begin to see a world of opportunity. You begin to see a world where your assignment is. In the first world of appearances, it's just trying to make it in the construct of separation. comfort zones, conveniences. In the second world, you see opportunities, you see possibilities.
That this is possible, that this is doable, that each and every one of you, when looking in the mirror, when you have that faint disquiet late at night, when you haven't slept and you're anxious and you don't know what your purpose is, or you think you might not be able to have enough of an impact, think exponentially. Understand that it's not just metaphysical, lofty, spiritual bumper sticker lingo, although that's all good too. This is all grounded in tangible fact. Also, it's both. It's poetic truth built on data-driven extrapolations.
In life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges.
You're not in the past, you're not in the future, you're not in the present. The past, shame, blame, immature pride. Future, ambition and fear. Present, sometimes is embarrassment and vanity. It can become an open door for the eternal now.
Shitty things are going to happen to you if they haven't already, and I'm sure they have. Many tragedies have befallen every person in this room. And what I want you guys to recognize right now is thank God. Because those are the things that weed out the sick and the weak. Those are the things that weed out the people who they don't have the fortitude to see it through. My ability to handle suffering, my ability to keep going when something is boring, my ability to learn, I endure no matter how hard it gets, no matter how painful it is. If it lives in service of my goals, I do it.
What gives you confidence, not being afraid, is overcoming the fear. I found out the whole key to life. It's not in all that. You have to face yourself. So many people live to be 100 years old and they die miserable, having everything.
The questions you ask yourself will determine the course of your life. I had been asking myself, what do I need to do to get rich? So I changed the question. And I started asking, what would I do and love every day, even if I were failing?
Everybody's got a story. We don't share it on social media. We share our nice life on social media. We all have a dungeon. I'm just willing to talk about mine. Mental toughness isn't something that you sample. It's something that you live in every day.
Life is chaos. It takes an inhuman amount of effort to bring order to that, to find success in the middle of that. So while I cannot promise you success, I can promise you failure. I cannot promise you happiness, but I can promise sadness. So if you know those are the guarantees and the other things are the things you have to strive for, you better be striving in service of something that in and of itself is interesting to you.
What people understand is that they live for themselves, not knowing that you have the power within yourself to change millions of lives.
If you truly believe that human potential is limitless, how you decide to spend your time is a spiritual consideration.
There is no cap on the human mind. We cap it ourselves. You're not quitting, you're not throwing in the towel, you're saying there's a way around this. And when you figure it out, when life has you gripped in a vice, and you can figure that out, that's when you overcome.
Your life comes down to your decisions, and if you change your decisions, you will change everything.
The worst thing that could ever happen to any human being is they become civilized. You're setting the example every single day of your life. And being civilized feels so good. I'm sorry, man. Once you get to the top, you may retire, but you ain't never coming back home, man, because now you're judged. People see you falling off. But I'll be damned if you ever see me looking like, feeling like not arriving. I've arrived. I've arrived mentality. You're always setting the example. Civilization feels so good. These comfortable feelings are what people want. They want retirement. They want that, they need that. It's a yearning feeling. Every day you have to do this. Because why? When you stop doing it, you don't just maintain it. The only way to keep from getting rusty is to constantly oil the machine. The machine exists.
But you need a vision of who you could be, what character you could have 3 to 5 years out. But you want plans at all those levels of resolution. You want to write the things down. And because what are you going to do? You're going to stumble around and get what you need? You're going to stumble around and be useful to other people? And it's useful to be useful to other people, you know? They want to work with you then. They want to do things with you. They want to have you around. They trust you. They open up opportunities for you. And if you stumble around like you're blind, you're not going to get anywhere. And then you're going to suffer. And then you're going to be bitter. And then you're going to be cruel. So that's hell. That's a bad outcome.
Now I'm going to define power. Power to me is the ability to close your eyes and imagine a world, the world the way you wish it was, and then open your eyes and make that world come true. That's power. And the thing that stands between you, where you are today, and your goals, where you want to get, is a gap in skill set. It is a gap in abilities. And once you're willing to look nakedly at your inadequacies, to literally build your self-esteem, your entire sense of self-worth and value is built around one thing. Whenever you face an obstacle, whenever you face a difficulty, whenever you fail, you have one thing that you say to yourself. On a long enough timeline, I can learn this. When you switch your life around to that, whatever your goal is here, whatever that is, wherever you want to go, plant that flag, identify the skills that you would need to get there, and then set about every day getting those skills.
Sometimes we're so committed to protecting the image we think we have that we can't create the future we deserve to have. But I'm always going to tell you, are you living and standing in your truth? Are you creating holistic success, the kind of success that in the dark of the night you're at peace with what you've done in the middle of the day? That kind of success where your children and your sibling and your parents and your extended family say, I'm proud to know you. That kind of success where you're not leaving a liability, you choose to leave a legacy. You can get scared. You can get nervous. You can get tired. You can get frustrated. And you can know absolutely nothing, but are you still willing to live in your truth and stand in your greatness with all of that on the table?
In the end, what we get will never make us happy. I don't care how many stars on your chart, how many Academy Awards, how much money you make. What makes us happy is progress. Progress equals happiness. If you're not growing, you're dying inside.
So we have to find a way to construct a narrative about ourselves that empowers us, that lifts us up. Even though we make mistakes, even though we fall down, we're never going to get things right all the time. And even though terrible things happen to us, 80% of the time you should be focused on the things that you love, the beautiful things that you want to bring to this world, the beautiful things that are already in the world. And 20% of the time you should be kicking yourself in your ass and saying you can do better.
Find find that so many of us think that our dreams are unreachable or unrealistic, and it's just so sad. I mean, people think that their dreams disappear. And if that's what you think, congratulations, you're officially stuck. And the truth is that our dreams are always there, and they don't ever give up on us, we give up on them. But here's the secret. If you just force yourself, and I mean force, because I know damn well none of you want to do anything about this, and I also know you're sitting there like, yeah, this self-help crap, this isn't for me. But if you just force yourself to take a couple small steps, there's always a surprise.
In order to be successful in life, you have to cross a jungle. Or you can stay on the other side of the jungle and not cross the jungle. But if you choose to cross the jungle has all sorts of things that can do you harm and bite you and everything along those lines. And so the best way to do that is to go into that with people who can see things differently and watch themselves and struggle to make it to the other side. And then what I've discovered along the way is that it's always a struggle, and I enjoy being in the jungle.
My unflagging belief in one simple thing: I can learn anything.
I think people have to realize that they have to accept failure, but don't accept defeat. I think whenever you're trying to do something great, whenever you're trying to be successful, you're going to face failures, but it's those lessons in the failures that really take you to greatness.
My entire reality was based on what I believed was real, and what I believed was true about myself, about what's possible, and that I could change that. That's when my life started to change. And he said, if you start to change the way you think, and you start to learn every day for 1 hour to upgrade your knowledge and your skills, and then you take action every day on the things that are the most important instead of all the different things that you can do. 1 year, you'll be at a totally different destination. 5, 10 years, your life won't be the same.
So what would be best for you 3 to 5 years down the road if you were really taking care of yourself like you were someone that you thought should be around? And people are very ambivalent about whether they should be around, so this is a lot harder than you think. So you need that vision. And then what you also need is a vision of what your life would be like if you let yourself deteriorate in precisely the foolish ways that you know that you would deteriorate if you let yourself go. And that's contemplation too. It's like, okay, if I let myself go, where would I end up?
Haven't developed grit yet. And so grit is the ability to persevere, to see things through, to go past the point at which it has stopped being fun and it becomes boring because you believe in your end goal enough, you're excited by what you're trying to accomplish so much that you're willing to fight through all of that difficulty. You're willing to fight through the boredom, you're willing to fight through the unease that arises when you step outside your comfort zone, you're doing things you're not good at, and things that are boring. Those are the two things that I find kill most people. They just cannot handle the things that make them go, oh God, like I'm not very good at this and I'm feeling really badly about myself. And they forget that they can get good on a long enough timeline. And then two, inevitably, in any pursuit of greatness, in any endeavor where you're trying to gain mastery, you're gonna get bored. Because practice is repetition. It's doing something over and over and over and over to really train yourself to get to the point where you're truly exceptional. And there's just so much boredom inherent in that process.
Primarily, we learn the most about ourselves and others when we're uncomfortable. Because the moment you move into that uncomfortable state, normally a program jumps in. When that program jumps in, it's because the person doesn't want to be in the present moment and engage it consciously. That is what starts the process of change. And so we have to unlearn before we relearn. We have to break the habit of the old self before we reinvent a new self. We have to unmemorize emotions that are stored in the body, then recondition the body to a new mind and to a new emotion.
Progress to just keep getting better. Little incremental gains every day, every week, every month, every quarter. And even when you move backwards a couple of steps, what's the progress that you made in what you learned? So I was taught that failure is an opportunity to learn. And I was also taught to disassociate me being a failure from failing.
If you get yourself in a state of certainty that this is gonna work, I'm gonna find a way, and if this doesn't work, I will make the way, then you tap a lot more potential. And when you're certain in your potential, you take massive action. When you take massive action, you really believe in something, you get great results.
Because the long-term impact of making a decision from your heart and soul, that is where the best life comes from.
The little voice in the back of your head that says it matters, it sees those outcomes down into the future, and it's telling you that it matters. And if you would like the positive outcome over the negative outcome, which is, like I said, your constant choice, you bloody well better sit down and do what you're supposed to.
If you're interested, you'll do what's convenient. You'll come up with stories and excuses and reasons why you can't, and you'll use your education as an excuse, you'll use your stories as an excuse, you'll use all of that as your reasons why you can't. He says, but if you're committed, you will do whatever it takes. You'll let go of your stories, you'll let go of your excuses, you'll let go of all the reasons you currently have that are formulating your identity of yourself, and you'll learn how to let that go and become who you are destined to become.
Why do most people fail? The answer is they never start. Now, the reason that most people never start is because they don't think that they're going to get a result from their actions. And then that's going to come down to a belief that they believe about themselves. I'm too stupid. I'm not good enough. I don't have the natural talent. That's why most people fail. The hard thing is taking the first step. Everything else is just persistence.
Because so many times people have a tendency to devalue the moment, today. What they do is they greatly value the destination. And so they kind of talk about, well, when I get there, or if I arrive there, or when I do that, or when I accomplish this. And they don't understand that success is a daily thing. And I'm here to share with you that the secret of success is determined by your daily agenda.
It's not so much courage, it's a matter of, it's less risky to say something than to remain silent when you know there's something to be said. I know that to be the case. And so lots of times in life, it's like, there's no pathway forward that's going to shield you from risk. You get to pick this risk, or you get to pick this risk.
So I have a dream. Okay, fantastic. I have one question. What skills does your dream require you to obtain? I always tell people, stop rehearsing the failure and stop rehearsing it under the guise of I just want to be ready. I want to have a backup plan. Well, the problem is what you're going through over and over and over is how things are going to go wrong. It is far better for you to put your energy into how to make sure that they go right. Then you're rehearsing over and over and over. You don't just think about the 1,000 ways that a building could fall. You think about structural integrity. You think about how do you build that in? Where do the posts have to be? That's the thing that you rewire over and over.
So get to the spot where your mind is saying stop. Wherever that is, you gotta get there first. You gotta control yourself in that moment.
This is my dream and not be ashamed by it, because whatever your dream is, like, that's your dream. Don't let somebody else take that away from you.
You tend to think that what you want, you just march right towards it. But if in sports you march right towards the goal, what happens? The defenders come in. And what the defenders are is it's your brain saying, ain't gonna happen. So the second you start moving toward that thing you want, be ready. You're gonna tell yourself you don't feel like it. You're gonna have to force yourself. It's happening. There's no way to get around it. And I wanna remind you about something. Unlike a sports field where there's an in and out of bounds, the great thing about life is there actually aren't any. And it's usually in those moments where you feel like you can't do it, that you're closer than ever to having everything that you wanted. And I wanted to show you this so that you keep it in mind, because I think a lot of times when you look back, it's the darkest moments where you realize, holy cow, that's what projected me forward.
But what makes mastery is execution on the ideas, not the ideas. And so no idea works unless you're willing to roll up your sleeves, do the practice, invest the time, put in the effort, do the work.
Typically on the other side of your greatest fear, of your greatest insecurity, is your greatest blessing. Everyone goes, well, get out of your comfort zone, you'll find things. No. What you're afraid of and what you're insecure about, on the other side of that is typically one of the great gifts or blessings in your life. You don't even know the magnitude of what it's costing you to give into your fears and insecurities. And by the way, insecurities and fears are different things. They're both really insidious, detrimental things that people struggle with. And so on the other side of your fear, that's one thing, and on the other side of your greatest insecurity are blessings. And you have no idea the immeasurable waves that you're missing in your life because you are giving into them and cowering to them.
There's people around you, whether they're in your life or now social media, you know, people are always going to tell you no, and people are always going to like roll your eyes when you tell them your dream or your goal. And I think that those dreams and those goals are within reach, and they're, you know, just at the tip of our fingertips.
What you're after is the emotion, and so what I want people to get is the emotion they want now, and all it is a new habit. It's learning to discipline this mind, right? By realizing the mind thoughts are out there and letting them float by and constantly coming back to what can I love about this? What can I appreciate? It's like, if you can learn to love or at least appreciate, start to enjoy the things that you used to get upset about, how much freedom would you have?
And there's just a part of you, I think, in anything you're doing when you're struggling, is this really for me? Is this my destiny? Should I be doing this? And we misread failure from some sign. You know, is this a sign I shouldn't be doing it? You know, is this a sign I am, you know, not cut out for this? Instead of looking for signs that you can win.
And make a decision now that says, I'm gonna live in a beautiful state and I'm gonna find beauty in whatever life brings me. Because life is too short not to.
Play the long game. Aim for legendary. Don't just say, I want to be world class in my dominant pursuit for a little window of time. Say, I want to have the guts and the grit and the acumen and the mindset and the capability and the commitment to create enduring success. And that's why I say nothing fails like success.
And it's that executing against dreams that will change your life. It is not the dream itself. And that is my mission in life, to get people to understand. One, it's not enough to dream. And two, you can learn those skills. And once you have those skills, you can create. Once you can create, you can shape your life. And that's what it's about. People slide into depression because they don't think they can create the life they want. They feel that they're beholden to someone else, that there's some invisible game being played that they don't understand, that they're at the mercy of rules to which they're not privy to.
The world has to hear your voice. That when it's looked back on 20 years from now and you were here, there's an opportunity to say, what did we do? Where did we go? How did I show up? How did I share? How did I show out? How did I do it?
A resilient person is capable of standing up to things in the face of fear and moving forward voluntarily, convinced of their own competence and ability to prevail. We don't even want to be protected from those difficulties, because a major part of life and its meaning is the challenge that comes with confronting difficulties.
We're all going to have these days where it just feels like it's too hard, we don't want to do it anymore, and you want to quit. And that's okay, but you can't quit or give up on those days.
You are where you are because of the choices you've made and the skill set you've built. Period. End of story. Now, why is that the best news ever? Because it means you're in control. You've steered yourself to exactly this point. Now, you may not have been paying attention. You may not have had the clarity that you now know that you need if you want to end up in the exact place that you want to end up. But now that you take that control back and you recognize that you can go anywhere you want, become anyone you want to become, but you're going to have to put in the work, now you can decide whether you want to put in that work or not. And if you don't, that's fair enough. Because the real punchline of all of this, by the way to win this game called life is not money. It is quite simply, what do you think about yourself when you're by yourself?